Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Slickmoth, back again with the video, bringing you guys a totally just chill commentary, me just spewing out my thoughts. I recently made a video titled PS4 versus Xbox One, which is better, and it was mainly a graphics comparison. We went in depth into the processor and the specs and the graphics cards and everything in it. From an objective standpoint, I'm an Xbox One owner, but I tried to be as unbiased as I could in looking at a just a pure fact standpoint and comparing the gameplay side by side of different games like Batman Arkham Knight, which game looks better, which ones on which consoles or whatever. So if you want to take a look at that, you can certainly check that out. But today we're not going to be comparing the two primary consoles out, which is the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Today we're actually going to be teaming the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One up as one and comparing them to the PC. As many of you may know, the Batman Arkham Knight release, which is one of the most anticipated games of the year, probably, I would say. Easily top 3 with Fallout and maybe Star Wars Battlefront, I would say, would probably make the top 3 of the 3 biggest releases this year. Basically what happened was the PC release for Batman Arkham Knight was a disaster. I mean, there's no other way to put it. An absolute disaster is really what it was. Basically a studio, the production of the PC version of the game was outsourced to another company. And this is incredibly common. Call of Duty does this with last-gen titles. So for example, Treyarch develops Call of Duty on the Xbox One and the PS4, but another company does the development of the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions of the game, and this is quite common. In the instance of Batman Arkham Knight, for PS4 and Xbox One, the game was made by Rocksteady Studios, and then for PC, I believe it was made by a company named High Moon. I could be wrong on that. I never really looked into High Moon Studios or anything like that, but they've done a lot of stuff. They've done, I believe for Ghosts, they did the last gen. They're basically a port company, and a port gaming development studio is one that takes other people's games and basically ports them over to a different console, a different system, whatever. In my opinion, that would be the worst job because you're not creating anything, right? Like, I think it would be very fun to make video games and to think of video game plots and game ideas and levels and that kind of thing, but if you're one that's literally just taking other people's games and they're saying, okay, copy this over to a different platform, then you're just basically working with code all the time and just copying other people's work, which I would consider to be quite boring, but that's just my personal opinion. But this is not the first time that PC has gotten utterly screwed over by multi, AAA titles. I mean, Batman Arkham Knight is just the tip of the iceberg. Every Assassin's Creed game to date has completely screwed over the PC. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in the games. Now, before I send the wrong impression, I understand that certain games like Assassin's Creed Unity are broke on console when they come out. Assassin's Creed Unity, from what I understand, I never played it, but what people have told me is that it was broke on day one for every console that you played it on. Xbox, PS4, whatever, it's broken on everything. But I think what we find more often is that console games, and I think this will be the case for Star Wars Battlefront, they're simply not developed enough upon release. They don't meet the standards of their console counterparts. This is particularly true as well with Call of Duty. Advanced Warfare PC was just terrible. I mean, it's just glitches, bugs, capped at 30 frames. Well, it wasn't capped at 30 frames, but the graphics was capped at something. I'm not sure. I don't play PC really. I play League of Legends. I play CSGO occasionally. I'm not a PC gamer. And for good reason. I think I've learned that I personally prefer console gaming. And the biggest reason that I prefer console gaming is I like taking a disc. I like going to GameStop. I don't buy digital. Because I like to sell games afterwards if they're not very good. But I don't generally buy games that I don't think I'm going to like. All the games I own, Call of Duty, which I could argue I don't like, but no, I'm just kidding. I like Advanced Warfare. It's a pretty good game, but of course it can get exhausting after a while. So Advanced Warfare, Arkham Knight, that's basically it. Grand Theft Auto. I mean, those are the games I own for next gen. So I don't buy games that I don't think I'll like. But that's a side tangent. Getting back to the point, I like being able to take a disc and putting it in my console and knowing it's going to work. One of the things I also like about console that other people could say they don't like is there's no settings. I feel like an issue as well is that what capacity of computer you have influences your experience. I like knowing that my neighbor next to me with an Xbox One is basically playing the same game as me and the same quality as me. So I think it's... I don't like the notion of you can upgrade your own console and your experience is better than somebody else's on the same platform. And of course the PC isn't a platform, so what I'm saying, it doesn't really make sense. Some of you may be kind of understanding what I'm getting at, but what I'm saying is really illogical technically. But in my mind, what I'm saying is I like knowing that everyone on my platform that I'm competing against online is playing the same game and doesn't have a competitive advantage purely because they have a better system. That's for multiplayer games like Call of Duty would be the best example of that, where you're competing against other people that could have a competitive advantage if they had the better hardware. But again, what I like is that I can just take a disc and put it in my box and I know it's going to work. And the fact of it is, all too often, these PC releases on AAA console titles are disasters, and that's the unfortunate truth. And as a gamer, you know, I'm not like a console elitist, you know, I don't necessarily look up upon, you know, PC master racers, whatever. You know, I like the PS4, I like people PC, I like when everyone can play their own games and you know, enjoy it separately. I don't like it when PC gamers are playing a great game like Arkham Knight, but they can't play it because it's broken. I don't like that. And I've seen people, PS4 players, tweet like, ha ha ha, the PC is broken, that's why PS4 Master Race. That's stupid, you know? And same for people saying Xbox One Master Race, we have Halo, you don't, Ideally, I think if you're a gamer that you hope that every console wins, right? Because that creates competition, and if you have the Xbox One and the PS4 and the PC all competing against each other, then you get better games and blah blah blah. So, but my point is, I personally prefer console, and if you like PC, that's great, but what I notice is that these AAA titles simply are not putting in the time to PC. They're simply not doing it. And, you know, on release, if you're... I would never pre-order a game for PC. I mean, Call of Duty, Batman, AAA, any AAA titles. I'm going to put my money on Star Wars Battlefront. They're all going to be terrible, unplayably terrible. And, you know, people have to go into their settings just to get Batman Arkham Knight not on 30 frames per second. They have to go into, like, the inspect element data of the game just to get it on above 30 frames, not even at 60, just above 30. So that's personally why, my argument as to why I like having it on Xbox. I like putting a disc in and knowing it'll work. Again, that's not always the case. Sometimes games are broken on console too, but I find it happens less for AAA titles. And you know, mods and stuff like that are great advantages PC has, absolutely, but I just don't think it's worth it sometimes. And I think that it's a recent trend. And 10 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation, but now I think PC players are beginning to realize they are getting seriously screwed over by these AAA devs. Activision, you name it, Ubisoft, I mean, they're all screwing PC over royally. So there's certain games like Grand Theft Auto where I'd rather have a PC for. The game's beautiful, way better than it is on PS4 or Xbox One combined if you have a great PC. So that's just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts. And again, I'm not taking sides necessarily. Well, I am. I'm saying I'd rather have an Xbox, but that's not because I feel like the PC is inferior. It's just because I feel the devs don't give the PC the time it deserves, and that is a shame. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to rate the video, like or dislike, and also be sure to comment in the comment section below your thoughts and which console or PC you prefer. My name's Slickmuff, and we'll see you later.